Lesbian Avengers up to tell us a little bit about themselves and what you just saw outside as you came in. Let's hear it for the Lesbian Avengers.
Wow, it's amazing to see you all. Thank you for coming. We are the Lesbian Avengers, and the Lesbian Avengers are a direct action group dedicated to issues of lesbian survival and visibility. We eat fire because in 1992, the New York Lesbian Avengers held an anti-violence march through the streets of New York. It was Halloween night, a night notorious for queer bashing. That night, they built a shrine for two people, Hattie Mae Cohen and Brian Mock, who a month earlier had been burned to death when their house was firebombed. They were members of the queer community. The Lesbian Avengers kept the shrine until Election Day, and with these words ignited the first fire-eating rituals. We take the fire of action into our hearts. We take it into our bodies. We stand here and now to make it known that we are here, and here we will stay. We stand here this afternoon to make it known that the horrific hate crimes that have happened here in Montana, our home, will not go unrecognized, unnoticed, or unavenged. We honor the survivors of the recent hate crimes here, and we support every one of you. We are here to say we will not live in fear, and we will not be silenced. We take the fire of action into our hearts. We take it into our bodies. We stand here and now to make it known that we are here, and here we will stay. We take the fire within us. We take it and make it our own. The fire will not consume us. We take it and make it our own. We take the fire within us. We take it and make it our own. The fire will not consume us. We take it and make it our own. Everybody. We take the fire within us. We take it and make it our own. The fire will not consume us. We take it and make it our own. We'll be outside again at the end of the speakers to kick off the rally. Thank you.
Trying to move things along this evening. It's very large now, much larger than I thought. Honor and privilege to be here. And I'd like to start out with music, because music unites all of us. And so we're very lucky to have the Montana Women's Chorus who show up for all these kinds of events. Thank you for coming, ladies. We'd like to sing a song for you. Songs also for Douglas and I believe, I don't have her name, I'm too nervous. We have a dream to be in a world that's truly free. We have a dream, a quest to calm this world's unrest. There'll be a change. You'll see, for we have a dream. We have a dream to be we all kind of want to see each other. Again, I welcome you all. Thank you so much for showing up for all of our sakes. Thank you. We have quite an amazing list of people who have shown up to speak this afternoon, and it's going to be pretty fast, pretty tight, so we ask your cooperation. All the speakers be ready to go when your turn comes. I'll do my best that I can with names and who's who, and I'm sure I'm going to mess it up a few times, and that's the joy of being a human being. So, right from the very beginning, we'd like to invite up the Ministerial Association. There's, I believe, 3 different churches represented here this evening. We have Peter Schuber, Jean Collins, and Connie Sidebottom. Sorry, I knew I'd do that.
Dick, I think, was coming up. A number of different clergy want to stand up here just as a sign of our solidarity together and with all of us here. Dick Gay is a retired United Methodist pastor who lives here in town. John Garrity is president of the Unitarian Universalist Church here in town. Jean Collins is an Episcopal priest, lives here in town, serves a couple parishes in the Bitterroot. And Connie Sidebottom is the pastor of this church, and she wanted to issue a welcome.
I am glad you are all here. You're welcome, and you are welcome to stay as long as you need to. Afterwards, to mingle and to know that this is a safe place, sanctuary, refuge from the world is in God's living room, and we welcome you. We do have child care, nursery care in the hallway parallel this room. If you have children that get antsy, there's child care providers there. And I just want to welcome you and hope that there is a way for peace in the middle of all of this horrible time, that we can somehow find our way by holding one another's hands. Thank you.
I prepared just a couple of short remarks. And I know that for myself, and I imagine all of us here today, my stomach turned and my soul felt pretty hollow when I heard about this attempted murder. And so it really is a very deep sadness that brings us here together this afternoon. Along with many of you, I'm growing weary of these sad gatherings. So there is a very deep and real sadness, but let me also say that there's a deep gladness to see all of us here joined together in compassion and with a deep sense of hope for a day when we don't have to cry together over violence and hatred. Now, lots of folks are going to be wondering what we are doing here tonight. Obviously, we are here in compassion and in solidarity with these good women who have been attacked so violently. But we're here for a lot of reasons as well. We're here because we all hope for a day when the fear is gone. We've all heard that silence is complicity, and that is true. We cannot, as people of conscience and as people of hope, be silent when our neighbors are threatened and attacked. When people of goodwill do nothing, hatred persists. We're not here so much to propagate as we are here to demonstrate that love is more powerful than hate. We are here to stand with those who have suffered. And we are here to demonstrate that we will stand up to those who would spew forth violence and hatred. So we're standing with, and we're standing up. And that's a powerful witness, more powerful than any of us alone can even imagine. We're not here so much to provoke, but rather to invoke the best that is within us, to invoke the spirit of peace, of solidarity, of justice, and of gladness for the good things that happen when we come together lifting up love. And we do that with respect. We do it in the context of safety, in the midst of our differences, not in spite of them. We do it with hope for a new day that will dawn, and we will see each other through the light of love and respect. Now, all of us up here are preachers, and as preachers, we have been led to believe that God's creation of humanity is based on love. We've been led to believe that that love is given without ceasing, without qualification. And we believe that God is the author of our many diversities. And God wants to bring all of us together. God wants to bring the lion together with the lamb, the rich with the poor, the black with the white, the Hindu with the Muslim, the Christian with the Jew, the gay with the straight, those who laugh to be with those who cry. And what God hath brought together, let no one separate. So, good friends, we live in hope. Reverend King, in his ministry, would sometimes quote in his speeches the words of an old African slave preacher who said, "We ain't what we ought to be, and we ain't what we want to be, and we ain't what we're going to be, but thank God we ain't what we was." And so it is. We live in hope of what is yet to come, even with tears in our eyes. And we can't let go of that. We have trust, and we have history on our side, and we have our faith, and we have each other, and the story is not over yet, not by a long shot. So we should never give up, and we should always stand fast. We should stand up, and we should stand with, bearing witness to the power of love. Blessings to us all on this witness today. Thank you for being here.
Express our incredible appreciation for the speed with which this church offered its doors to be open for this gathering. So we always let them know how much we appreciate. They went right to it, and we really appreciate it. A lot of appreciation needs to be given, and so forgive me if I don't remember everyone. I do want to thank this wonderful woman up here. Her name is, I just found it, is Maria Middleton. She's going to sign for all our people who can't hear. And I would like us to also take a moment just to be with each other for a moment. Some of us are still reeling. This is such a quick reaction, but there's also a lot of us, all of us, I'm sure, need a moment just to kind of be here and get here and be with each other. So if you could, and I know touchy-feely can sometimes be out of the question, but this is a time for just reaching to the person next to you and taking their hand, take that risk, and just be here with each other for just a moment. Guys, it's an important thing to remember. Yeah, hurry up. Just remember, you're never alone in this. And this is, I think, the most powerful thing I've witnessed so far on this event, is how quickly these people were told they're not going to be alone through this. So let's just take a moment. You need to look each other in the eyes a little bit. It's okay. These are your neighbors. This is what gets us through hard times. Thank you. And I think in this moment it's the best time to bring up these folks. Nancy and Carol and Adrian and Carla.
in our way basically since Monday. And I've known that problems of hate and violence can't be cured by individuals alone. And it's really clear to me that from the support of this community, that Missoula has it to overcome hatred and violence in our society and to make us have the kind of community that we all really want. Thank you.
All I want to say is, again, thank you for your love and your support, and especially your commitment to creating a safer world that really opens its all to all people. Thank you.
Hello. Well, last night, about 2 o'clock, I was trying to sleep and I was lying in bed next to Carla and our son and listening to the two of them breathe, and I couldn't go to sleep because I thought I had to watch over them. And every time I tried to tell myself I was safe and that I could go to sleep, and every time I closed my eyes I saw images of smoke and fire. And I cried for a long time. And finally I started thinking about everybody who had called and talked to us and left messages, and everybody who's told us about what was going to happen tonight. And I imagined this room and what it was going to be like to see all of you here. I didn't think there was going to be this many here. But I thought, I don't have to watch over Carla and my son alone. You're all going to watch over us. And I feel like I'm putting my family in the hands of this community, and it's going to say that we know that we're in your hands and that we think that that's a good place to be. Thank you.
It's the kind of experience that can make you lose hope. It can make you lose hope in the goodness of all people. But in fact, there is a lot of good in our world. And ever since we climbed out of that window and away from that fire, we have encountered nothing but good from our community. Everybody has embraced us. You have embraced us by coming here. Your generosity, your kindness, your friendship, and your compassion has what has kept us going for the last 36 hours, probably the longest 36 hours of my life. And I really don't know what I would have done without all of you. What happened to us may have made you angry. It may have made you very, very angry. And that's fine. But that kind of anger can lead to hatred, and that's not okay. And I'm here to ask you to channel that anger into something positive, into some sort of positive action. I want you to take that anger and use it to move you to build bridges across our community, so that no one ever need experience prejudice or discrimination, whether of the magnitude that we've experienced just recently or in much subtler and mundane ways in their everyday lives. No matter what group these people might belong to, no matter what personal identity they might claim. And so, I'd like each of you to take a moment right now and imagine an action that you personally will commit to take. And this could, in this coming week, to make the peace that we dream of a reality. It could be something as big as joining in future actions, could be sending money to something, doesn't have to be to us. There are a lot of good places you could send your money. It could be as small as talking to someone that might be a reach for you because you felt uncomfortable with them before because they're a little bit different than you. And so I'd all like you to close your eyes for a moment and really see yourself choose an action and see yourself doing this action. Imagine where you'll be, what you'll be wearing, who you'll be talking to, what the weather will be like. And now that you have that image in your head, I want you to go out and make that real. And that will really make a difference. And that's how you can help us. Thank you.
How much we appreciate you doing for each of us what we hope we can do for someone else in town. Thank you. And this leads us into the fact that there has been established a relief fund. When she mentioned that part about, you could write a check. There's a relief fund been established for this event, and it's going to, the money will go, I believe, to, you just make the check out to relief fund. There'll be people passing the baskets around. We felt it was sort of a church ritual we would carry on with, which is baskets being passed. And Pride, the organization Pride will administer these funds to both couples and help them through both their any kind of needs. They may need security needs for a while. Their housing needs obviously are going to be coming up for them. We don't know what expenses are coming up, but Pride will help them through this by you all helping them, helping each other, helping them help yourselves, helping. So, that is complicated. That's the relief fund. Next up we have who's actually reaching into his pocket right now. This is a wonderful moment. This is our mayor in action. As soon as he finishes putting it in the basket, I'd like to bring up our mayor, Mayor Kiss. Welcome.
Well, I know there was a 5 in my pocket. First of all, I just want to say that your presence recognizes the strength of our community. The fact that we can fill up this room in a day's notice is something worth recognizing and celebrating. As part of I got a call this morning from Bob Reed, who is an old friend and also happens to be the chairman of the State Democratic Party, and he asked me to read a statement. So due to the 3-minute rule, that's going to be extremely edited, but I will give you part of it. This great nation is spending billions to wage war on terrorism overseas and at home. What will it do to combat terrorism in Missoula, Montana, or Laramie, Wyoming? Why must universities... University system employees be asked to risk their lives and subject themselves to terrorists by filing their case in court to get the same rights and privileges all other state employees enjoy. I urge the Board of Regents to act quickly before more innocent victims are threatened with their lives. carried legislation to make these types of crimes a hate crime. And since he has left, Senator Ellenson has carried it twice, I believe. So our local Missoula delegation has worked hard to bring hate crime issues to the fore and to include gay and lesbian hate crimes as part of that group. For myself and for the city, I want to first of all offer both my and our sympathy but perhaps even more importantly, our admiration to Carla, Adrian, Nancy, and Carol. Again, we celebrate their strength. We are a community that celebrates people's ability to step forward and to do what they believe is the right thing, and to do it in ways that are respectful of the rest of the community. And that leads to the two concepts that I think are important today, or at least they are for me. The first is the notion of tolerance, and that as a community, tolerance ranks high with us. And in fact, tolerance of diversity is not only a bedrock, but it is the beginning of how we understand ourselves and how we find our own strength. We celebrate diversity. We go beyond tolerance in our community. And that is critical to us as a place. It is that celebration of diversity that gives us strength, gives us the ability to respond to situations like this, but also to create great beauty and to create a great civic culture in our community. The second notion that I want to talk about is equally important, and that is the notion of justice. That with our actions, there has to be justice. There has to be responsibility for the way we hold ourselves and carry ourselves and how we are in this community. And that when someone commits a crime, then justice is part of that process. And I can tell you, from my perspective as the mayor of our city, that our law enforcement authorities and those of the nation are going to prosecute these crimes to their fullest extent.
From the Outfield Alliance, we have Bruce Bigley. Where are you, Bruce? Oh.
Thank you. I'm a professor too, but I'm not speaking from notes. I'll be brief and characteristically. I'm glad that you're all here. I'm here as a member of the Outfield Alliance. I won't say I represent them because we're not that organized. But the Outfield Alliance is a group of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transsexual, and whatever else, and their friends from among the university faculty and staff. And we began this process that has not ended here, but has led us to this point 3 or 4 years ago, when we decided that we wanted to go through the actions of trying to overturn the policy which did not allow the partners of same-sex couples to receive the same benefits that partners of different sex partners could receive, married or not, in the university system. And we've gone through the legal channels, the administrative and legal channels, and have succeeded sometimes and failed at other times. But we've come to this point where the next step was to file this suit. And with the help of my colleague and friend who would be here if you were in the country, Casey Charles, and many other people in the Outfield Alliance who worked very hard, we've gotten to this point. Most important of that group are the 4 brave women who are the cause of our being here today. I've been trying to figure out, to wrap my mind around what happened. None of us foresaw that we would come to this point. I keep wanting to say end here, but we're clearly not ending here. we have come to this point. I spent most of yesterday in a state of denial, pretending it somehow wasn't that significant. That was before I read the newspaper article and heard from the victims in the meeting today. Today's been something of an emotional roller coaster for me. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what could motivate this, and I failed. You know, I really can't conceive of this. But it seems to me what we have here, and Bob reading the statement stole my thunder. He got in ahead of me, but I think what we have here is, yes, a hate crime, yes, an attempted murder, but it is also an act of terrorism right here in Missoula, directed. Directed against our whole community, gay, lesbian, heterosexual, homosexual, our legal system, our churches, our community organizations, all of whom are represented here today, and I'll let them speak for themselves. Thank you.
Next up, we actually have Beth, who is actually the ACLU attorney representing these women, and we're glad to have you here. Thank you. People up in the back can hear the people speaking. Can you raise your hands if everything's okay, you can hear? We need more. More volume? Okay, just so you know, you speak a little louder.
Okay, how's this? Wonderful.
So this is Beth again. Okay.
Yeah, my name is Beth Brennan. Oh, that's too much. And I'm the legal director of the ACLU of Montana. And as you can imagine, we at the ACLU were horrified that our clients who filed suit to better protect their families have had their family security jeopardized by it. As you saw, these women are women of tremendous courage and integrity, and we have been and continue to be very grateful that they have stepped forward and put themselves on the line to challenge discrimination. John F. Kennedy once wrote that courage is when a person does what she must, in spite of personal consequences, in spite of obstacles and dangers and pressures, and that is the basis of all human morality. I'd like to again publicly thank these women for their courage and for standing up for who they are. It is an honor to know them. Thank you.
Next, we would like to have Carl Olson, who's here speaking for Pride.
Thanks. I have a couple of announcements to make. I'll try to be quick, loud, and not as long as Julia Roberts. First of all, many of you have been asking about these forms. Pride is sponsoring what we hope to be a huge ad in the Missoulian and possibly other newspapers. It's a signature ad. The statement's there, you sign on to it, you give us money to help pay for the ad. I learned today that it could cost about the same amount of money as my Kia Sportage. It could, so we need the money to go with the names, please. And we will have boxes by the doors with people with the boxes when you file out. And let me have the people stand up with the boxes just so you know who they are. Okay, and these are Pride board members from Helena and Polson. I also, last night there was an AIDS benefit in Helena. Just within hours of learning about the news, in Helena, the fine folks there raised $650 for the relief fund for Adrian and Carla. I am the director director of Pride. It's a statewide advocacy organization for the gay, lesbian, bi, and trans community. My name is Carl Olson. Missoula will not be remembered as the town where a gay family was burned out of their home. It will be remembered as a place where everyone, from the mayor to school children, rallied around and cared for those victimized by hate. The arson and attempted murder are not the only crimes that have been committed here. Another crime put Carla, Adrian, Carol, and Nancy, and many of you at risk in the first place. The state withholds our rights. The state compensates us less for our work. The state tells the world gay families do not exist. That is a crime. Complacency is also a crime. Today, many of us have engaged in a rich discussion about appropriate responses to this act of hate. In my mind, anything that is legal, that does not harm others, is not only appropriate, it is called for. That includes acts of civil disobedience. We may not have the right to love, but we do have the constitutional right to act up, speak out, and boycott a system that has been boycotting us from 6 ways to Sunday. Last month, many of us celebrated Black History Month and explored the Black Civil Rights Movement, and asked the question, what would Martin Luther King do today? Were he with us today, I know what Martin Luther King Jr. would do, and so do you. Martin Luther King said, freedom is never voluntarily given up by the oppressor, it must be demanded by the oppressed. Notice that Martin gives us a mandate. It is our responsibility, our obligation to demand our freedom. I believe we have what it takes to create a major shift in the dynamics. We are galvanized, we are scared, and you and I are next. And that's all it takes. I want to extend this invitation. Please remember this date, June 7th. Mark it on your calendar. Ask for that day off. Pride, in collaboration with others, will be planning a statewide protest for the right to love, the right to live, and the right for gays and lesbians to marry. Today is only the beginning. Between now and June and beyond June, I am confident there will be a wide variety of responses and actions, and we will be there. But I want to make sure you know, June 7th, please join us then. We'll have more concrete information coming out soon. In Montana, the gay rights movement got its feet wet with privacy rights. The right to privacy was a critical foundation laid by many hardworking activists who are here today. Now that we have the right to love whom we want behind our closed doors, it's time to ask for the rest. We need the right to publicly stand up and say, this is my beloved, to show off our families, to expose our talents and strengths. We need the right to take our love out of the bedroom and into the sun, and we need that right now.
How are all of you doing? Good? Take a breath. If there's any air left in here. We're wondering whether the land representative is here, because they're on the list of speakers, but we were never told that there was such a person showing up. Good. Then we allowed you to be here, and we're sorry you're not here. Oh, and you are, and we are happy.
My name is Ryan McGavin, and I'm the current fundraiser coordinator for Lambda at the university. we didn't really plan on being here. We just kind of came at the last minute. We're also trying to set up for our dance tonight, in which the proceeds, once the overhead is covered and everything, all the proceeds will be going to the relief fund. So we strongly urge anyone that can to come to the Elks Club tonight at 9 p.m. It's going to be running until 1 p.m., I believe. And it's $5 at the door, and that's going to be the cost of the entire dance. There's a bar. It's completely set up. Any age is welcome, and any sexuality. Orlando, we were quite shocked to find out about, not only the letters that were sent to the plaintiffs, but also the burning. That was pretty shocking to find out about that. I was the one that got the call from the ACLU, and it was just kind of like a jaw-dropping thing that you just couldn't really fathom and take in at that moment. And I'm just completely impressed by all the people that are here. I had no idea that so many people would come out to this. So on behalf of Orlando, we thank you.
I hope you appreciate it. I've got a high-tech microphone that's making me crazy. So if you just heard someone hoot really loud, it was me. Sorry. It's now my honor to invite up our State Senator John Ellison.
Thank you. As has been accurately acknowledged by previous speakers, the arson and attempted murder of 3 members of our community on Friday morning was an act of terrorism, designed not only to end 3 innocent lives, as incomprehensible and terrible as that is, but designed also to terrify, subdue, and intimidate an entire class of our community. This class, the gays and lesbians who live here in Missoula, wants nothing more than to be free to exercise their constitutional rights. The right to associate with whom they choose. The right to make personal and private decisions without interference, and the right to enjoy the completely equal protection of our laws. Much has been said of freedom in our country since the tragedy of September 11th. But none of us can feel secure in the free exercise of our constitutional rights as long as one group among us is systematically denied the ability to exercise those freedoms. That is why we must act together now as a community without any hesitation or equivocation to support Adrian, Carla, and their son, the victims of last Friday's attack. And we must speak with one voice to let everyone in this part of Montana and beyond, to let everyone know that we will not permit intolerance and violence directed against the gay and lesbian members of our community. And when the state legislature meets again in less than 1 year, it will be time to demand that discrimination against gays and lesbians be prohibited under our Montana Human Rights Act. And it will be time also to demand that our criminal code provide a special penalty for hate crimes directed against gays and lesbians. These additions to our laws are long overdue. Thank you.
It's also my privilege to bring up Ron Erickson, who's our state representative.
represent House District 64. In House District 64 is 100 Rimrock. I'm awfully sorry that I haven't had a chance to meet Adrian and meet Carla in the past. Hope I get to do so later. I would have said it never could have happened here, it never could have happened there, and I was wrong. I wanted to say a few words about hate and cowardice and courage. Those words have mainly been said. Clearly this was a hate crime. And clearly we can do something legislatively about hate crimes. But as you heard, it's been attempted in the past. Senator Ellingson didn't mention that this last year, the anti-hate crime bill came to the House of Representatives. A great young representative named Brad Newman from Butte brought it in. It didn't get out of Judiciary Committee. Straight party line. Cowardice for a moment. The people who did this act and who sent the stuff through the mail are incredibly cowardly. And I think we have to remember them as cowards. I also think that Commissioner Croft, his attorney Leroy Schramm, the Board of Regents are incredibly cowardly. We are waiting for an act of courage from the Commissioner. I hope it happens soon. We've already seen courage. Beth Brennan talked about it well. But the four folks who brought this suit have shown it. We need to thank all of them for standing up and showing courage. Thank you.
At this time, I would love to invite up Karen Lewis, and you represent PFLAG, and I believe you also represent Missoula Advocates for Human Rights.
That's right, both. You two with one.
She's an overachiever.
My name is Karen Lewis, and I'm the current chair for Missoula Advocates for Human Rights. That's Missoula's affiliate for the Montana Human Rights Network, and I'm co-chair with Joe Lewis of PFLAG, Missoula Five Valleys, the local affiliate for parents, friends, and families of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans communities. We have testified before the legislature. We'll continue to go there as long as it takes. I'm a proud parent of one, proud family member of some, proud friend of several, proud neighbor of more, proud Missoulian of more, proud Montanan of many more, and proud United States citizen and world citizen of countless gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans people. Yesterday, all day, beginning with a heart-stopping phone call from the Outfield Alliance, I was struck by the presence of fire in our lives, the uses, many meanings, and very deep symbolism of fire. Yesterday was all about fire. Fire has long been used as a weapon and a means of oppression. That is how terrorists used it, both in New York and in Missoula. But in the West, we know something about fighting fire with fire. When I watched the opening ceremonies for the Olympics last night, it too was all about fire. This Olympic slogan is "Light the fire within," a symbolic child of light. Indeed, many children of light were led by a fiery being symbolizing the fire within. This is not this is a light of mine, I'm going to let it shine kind of fire. This is an inner fire and a source of energy to draw on. This is the Holy Spirit, the Earth Mother, the source, the center of all our love and creative energy. The Olympic dream struggles mightily to hold the symbol of fire before humanity as one great hope for the best that humanity and the world can be. If we in Missoula also dream that Missoula should be the best that it can be, the best that we can be, if we in Missoula dream of a community of thoughtful safety, caring growth, beautiful diversity, and loving support, We have to find that fire within ourselves, and we have to work for our dream. It isn't enough anymore to say, I'm a nice person, you're a nice person, Missoula is a nice town, and isn't everything nice? It's not all nice. When you see the women who are literally eating fire again, the Lesbian Avengers after the rally, pay attention to that symbolism. If you do nothing else, pay attention to that and make it a symbol for your own life, and we'll have an opportunity ahead for you to carry that symbol personally. Thank you.
I'd like to bring up this time a professor of philosophy, Al works with the University of Montana.
I'm Albert Borman, and I'm here to convey the sympathy and support of the university. A day like yesterday reminds us at the university of our most fundamental task, and that is to teach human rights, to teach the moral norms of equality, of dignity, of self-determination, and of the principle of tolerance that flows from these norms. And as Ron Erickson has well pointed out, we have a responsibility to conduct ourselves accordingly. We have to teach those norms in a way that is resourceful and convincing, so that those whom we teach will in turn be resourceful and convincing advocates of these moral norms, and that they will carry them to every place in the state and to every person. But a day like yesterday and an occasion like today calls for more than rights and responsibilities. It calls for affection and gratitude. Affection for our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters who have suffered untold and undeserved misery simply being who they are. And it calls for gratitude for the friendships that they have extended to us, for the contributions that they have made to the university and to the community. And as has been said before, admiration for the constancy and courage that they have shown in the pursuit of justice. And if we take their example, if we follow their example and show similar perseverance and fortitude, then the day will come when they will be secure and appreciated everywhere in this country. Thank you.
Alexander Solzhenitsyn says, violence does not and cannot exist by itself. It is invariably intertwined with the lie. The lie continues to be told about the lives of gay men and lesbians. The lie would have people believe that gay men and lesbians are responsible for most major ills of society, from the breakdown of traditional families and abuse of children and the attacks on the World Trade Towers, to the destruction of all Western civilization. The lies are told by so-called Christians who like to say they love us while they pour more fuel on the fire. The lies are told by more than half of the Montana state legislators who close their eyes and harden their hearts to their own constituents who come before them for justice, and they vote once again to deprive them of their basic human rights. The lies are repeated so often that certain segments of the population believes them. They feel justified and emboldened as they select their targets and carry out violence. They believe most community leaders will condemn these women for their love and overlook the perpetrators' hate. They believe the police will only half-heartedly investigate this crime. They believe that the rest of the community will remain silent. They believe it because they hear so few people speaking out against these lies. I really hope they are wrong this time. I believe they are wrong this time. Why is it that hundreds of us are gathered here to express our outrage at this crime when there are many other crimes that happen that are equally serious, perhaps more physically damaging to the victims? It's because there is something different about this crime. These women were selected because of who they represent. A group of people unwilling to remain silent about injustice against them. The perpetrators want to send a message to other lesbians and gay men in Montana and across the country that they are unwanted, that they should keep their mouths shut, go back into the closets, or leave town. And if we don't, we deserve to die. That's the message they want to send us. They have at least partially succeeded. The only way I know how to respond to the lie is to tell the truth. I am a lesbian. I have been a public advocate for gay and lesbian civil rights. My address is very easy to find, and this is the scaredest I have been in Montana. But there's more truth to be told, and Adrian and Carla and Carol and Nancy are telling part of my truth as they tell their own. That they have families very much like most of us, that they work and play and care for each other, just like most of us, that they want to contribute and give back to their communities like most of us, and that it really hurts when they are not treated fairly, just like it hurts all of us when we are not treated fairly, and that the pain of living in silence is greater than the fear of violence. I invite everyone here to go tell these simple truths to your neighbors and your colleagues, and for God's sakes, to your children. Then one day, we can all live our lives and participate in this democracy without fear. Thank you.
Especially appreciate about telling our children. Thank you. Whew, okay. This gentleman's been standing here for a long time. We thank you so much for coming. I'm ringing here. I'm sorry. We have up next is Bob Reed, and he's from our police department, and we thank him so much for coming here. I know he's really busy, and we thank you for being here. Bob Reed.
First of all, I want to thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure. It's an odd thing. I don't have a speech, and I don't have a lot to say, and certainly not anything that can improve on what we've heard already. And what I do want to say is really personal. Like a lot of you here, I wasn't born in Missoula. I picked this place. And I remember 22 years ago when I started to work on the police department, I was riding across the Madison Street Bridge at about 2 in the morning in the winter. And I just looked down the Clark Fork towards the Wilma building and off into the lights on the river, and looking over at the guy that I was riding with and just saying, God, I like it here. I really like this place. And I think he probably thought I was a little nuts. But I did. This is where I wanted to live. And as someone told me very recently, one of the things that she liked about living in Missoula is that she didn't feel she needed to be afraid here, that she could be who she was in this town. And I like that about Missoula as well. My mother called me this morning, and she lives in a little town in central Illinois. And she was calling to tell me that she had read about this in the local newspaper. And of all the things that I would want somebody to read about Missoula, that's not it. Unfortunately, in the time I've been a police officer, a lot of my working life has been spent learning from people that they're afraid to go to sleep in their homes at night for a variety of reasons. That's a very sad commentary on the human condition, I suppose. In a perfect world, I'd be out of work, and I'd be glad of it, I think. But I guess one of the things that heartens me about all that is that although some of us are afraid to go to sleep at night for whatever reasons, so many people here today, there must be 500 or 600 of you out there, weren't afraid to come here today. And I just want to tell you that I'm very happy to share this down with you. Thank you.
Attention to the woman signing for us. Let's give her just a moment to rest. She is working. Do you notice her working? Okay. You gotta take care of those people. I don't know why this is doing what it's doing now. So, okay, enough of that. Next I would like to bring up, and I just got to meet her up before we started, is Jean Curtis, our county commissioner. Thank you.
On behalf of Missoula County, I thank all of you for coming together today to show, show our community and our nation that Missoula does not tolerate hate. I talked to my uncle in San Diego this morning, or Palm Springs actually, when San Diego was in my mind. And he too had read it in the paper there. Since September 11th, our nation has focused on terrorism and homeland security. Yesterday, Adrian, Carla, and their son experienced terror. The terror of being in a house on fire, the terror of their child being in danger, the terror of knowing someone wanted you to die, and the terror that it could happen again. The security of their home did not protect them. But this wasn't just a crime against them or a crime against Carol and Nancy. It was a cowardless crime against our community, our rights, and our freedoms. If it can happen to them, it can happen to us. There are many in this room and across our nation who experience fear for being who they are, and that is wrong. Discrimination for any reason is not acceptable. And it's time for all of us to stand together with our Missoula delegation and others in our legislature and say we will no longer allow our state to not protect all of us against hate. We must also participate in what is sometimes called the bystander strategy of preventing domestic violence and discrimination. We can't just look the other way. We can't laugh at degrading jokes. Others are counting on us, and we can make a difference. Integrity, honesty, compassion, respect, fairness, truth, human worth, dignity, and tolerance. These are values that transcend all philosophies, all religions, and all cultures, and we should not accept anything less.
Thank you. We have an unexpected guest, which brings up for us the subject which I was asked to remember, which is to look around you and know that you're not, we have people here not only from Missoula, but from across the state and further. We have people here from Butte, from Lake County, from Helena, from Bozeman. Let's give them a thank you for coming. For coming all the way from Michigan, a good friend of Adrian and Carla's, Sue Penn, come from Michigan.
I felt so strongly led to speak to you all that last minute flurry of frantic note passing got me up here onto the podium. Yesterday morning about 9 o'clock, I was in bed with my infant son playing peekaboo when Adrian called to tell me about the attack on them. And 8 hours later, I was on an airplane on my way here. And what I want to say to you all is that you've had Adrian and Carla among you for about 18 months. They've been Missoulians for about a year and a half, but they've been part of other communities in other places for a lot longer than that. And I wanted to come and speak to you on behalf of friends and family in a community in Ann Arbor, Michigan that Adrian was part of for more than 15 years. Family in Tennessee, family in New Jersey, family and friends as far away as Austria, who I know want, just like I wanted, to come here and see for myself that they were okay. Just to look at them and witness for myself that they are living and breathing. And I want to share with you that because I've known them for so long, I've gotten to be part of things with them that you haven't been able to, that you missed a lot in the years before they came here. I remember when Carla was nothing more to me than some lanky soccer player Adrian was very excited about. I danced at their wedding. I held their son in my arms when he was less than an hour old. This family is more precious to me and to others back in Michigan than almost anything I can think of. And yet, they're no more precious to me than your own beloveds are to you. Your lovers, your children that you're raising together, the ex-lovers you've sort of never been able to get out of your lives. That's for all you lesbians. We didn't give them up to you easily. It wasn't easy for us to entrust our precious treasures to you here in Missoula. And it has been a wonderful gift to me to be here today, to be at the meeting that we attended earlier to organize this rally and other activities, to be here seeing you all, and to know that our trust in you has not been misplaced, that our precious treasures are safe with you. And I ask you to take care of them as you take care of each other in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. At this time, it's my pleasure to bring Christina
and the Western Montana Gay and Lesbian Community Center. Christine Kozak.
And I think I'm the last one, so thanks for being patient. The Western Montana Gay and Lesbian Community Center is a place of safety. It's a place for every gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, straight, queer, or questioning community member. And we're here today because our community was threatened. We're deeply saddened at the recent events of hate and intolerance. Many of us experienced grief, shock, horror, and loss with this tragedy. We feel it in our hearts, and we are indeed frightened. And when I heard the comment that we weren't frightened to come here today, I have to say that I felt fright in my heart when I walked up the steps. Fright that we would once again become a target here when we were all gathered safely. I'm glad to see that hasn't come true. But that fright was still very much there. Like the women's chorus, I also have a dream that me, my family, my lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered community are safe, free, and welcome tonight, tomorrow, next week, next year, and 5 years from now. I am blessed by my employer that they provide benefits for both me, my spouse, my domestic partner, and our children. That this is not a special right, as so many would lead you to believe. This is my right as a human being. The community. The community center takes a strong stance against hate crimes. Sometimes we don't quite know what to do about them since we're not supported by our government. But we believe the actions of the last 72 hours were indeed hate crimes. That the victims that were targeted because they were lesbians. I am a lesbian. And I'm a mom. And I'm a social worker. And I'm a taxpayer. And I'm a community leader. And I'm a woman. And I'm a voter. And I'm a born and bred Montanan. I'm a volunteer. I'm a homeowner. I'm your neighbor. I am your customer in your shop. I am your client. And I am your friend. And when you attack my family, you attack me. There was a meeting this morning. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend because I was doing some other community activism, but one of the things that came out of that meeting this morning was a need to have a response that was going to continue after you walked out of this building today. And this morning, that community planning meeting brought forth many ideas. 60 people worked on some thoughts of some ways to make that happen. Fire, as Karen has shown us, and the Lesbian Avengers have told us, needs to become our symbol. We don't need to be frightened of it. And here it is. It says, hate hurts. We stand together. Please take one. Please take one today. Give them to your employer, your parents, your insurance agent. Oh, whoops, make copies because we only have a limited number and we're running, financially challenged, but make copies. Make sure to give them to people who don't think inside of our box. Make them think inside of their own box and challenge them. When we conclude this afternoon, the Lesbian Avengers will once again eat fire outside of the main doors that you came in the back. For those who would like to participate, we are going to move forward in a candlelight vigil. We're going to walk in pairs down the street out front here, please walk on the sidewalk. Please do not walk in the streets. I ask that you walk safely, that you pay attention to traffic, that you stop at the stoplights. Be safe. We don't want another tragedy. Be sure that when you get to the bridge that you line both sides of the bridge, go ahead and cross Higgins and go all the way down. Candles are located in the back of the church if you are unable to bring one. They were donated, so please grab one on your way out. And I'd like to thank the people who took such great care and time and energy to get us these armbands as well. They're very much a sign of solidarity, and I appreciate the time and energy that was given for those. Thank you.
Well, we decided that was as much talking as most of us could probably handle. We'd like to ask you to have the Montana Women's Chorus come back up. We have had a request for the last song to be different than what we had in mind. And I think you all know this one, and we would really appreciate it if you would stay and sing with us and then join the vigil. I have one last comment to make, which is we would like to ask the press, we really, let's thank the press for coming first. We really appreciate it. We have had a respectful request, which is to, the representatives would like to not have to speak any more to the press today. They're exhausted. Obviously, emotionally, it's been a really short time for the time they've put through all of this. So if we could all respect that, that would be really helpful to them, I think. But thank you so much for being here. And when we have the song we've been asked by the families to sing is one that's always perfect for this, is We Shall Overcome. And we shall indeed overcome it because of all of you and all of us. We will. And so if you could all sort of stand up together.